Okay, change of plans. A communist China spy balloon hovering in U.S. airspace is causing Secretary of State Antony Blinken to postpone his highly anticipated trip to China. Tonight, Secretary Blinken was scheduled to leave for Beijing to meet with China's President Xi Jinping. But earlier today, with news about the spy balloon, the Secretary canceled the trip. Here's what he said.
The surveillance balloon in U.S. airspace is a clear violation of U.S. sovereignty and international law, that it's an irresponsible act, and that the PRC's decision to take this action on the eve of my planned visit is detrimental to the substantive discussions that we were prepared to have.
So is this trip rescheduled now, or is it canceled? We don't know. State Department officials are reportedly saying the trip will happen, quote, at the earliest opportunity when conditions allow. In other words, they don't know either. Former Secretary of Defense during the Trump administration, Secretary Mark Esper, joins me. Good evening, sir. And sir,
Greta,
we just learned actually, I'm good. Last night, just as we were starting this show, we got the news, we broke the news about this spy balloon, but it's in Montana. Can you tell me, I mean, our Defense Department had to know that that balloon was coming to the United States when it was off the coast of California or Washington or Aleutian Islands or wherever. And 12 nautical miles, that's our space. That's our territory. That's our sovereign. Why didn't we shoot it down? There wouldn't have been a debris field to hurt people.
I think that's one of the first questions, Greta, and that was raised today by some of the reporters at the Pentagon press briefing. You know, as you know, if Russian aircraft come near our airspace up in the up near Alaska and all that, we send up interceptors to follow them and monitor them and make sure they keep their distance. The reports are that the balloons entered the Aleutians into Alaska, left Alaska, then came back in through Canada into Idaho, I think. And so the question is, you know, did we not see that happen? And then if so, or if not, why didn't we take action when it left Alaska the first time to shoot it down? Now, maybe we saw some counterintelligence value and letting it continue along. I don't know, but these are unanswered questions that I think need to be pressed upon by Congress when they meet with DOD and others.
All right, DOD and state says that they're confident it was surveillance. That's called spying. And now we see that it's sweeping across the United States like a vacuum cleaner, sweeping up information. And, you know, if they didn't know when it was over the Aleutian Islands or when it was over Canada, and I've been up in the Northwest Territories, there's nothing there. People aren't living up there. We don't have to worry about the debris field. But if we didn't know about it, that's such extreme incompetence. We had to have known then. If we didn't, we got big problems.
Yeah, my suspicion is this, that we definitely knew. DOD is very competent. We would see these things. We would know these things. My suspicion, my hunch is that a policy decision was taken, a political decision, I guess, that President Biden did not want to shoot it down for fear of how the Chinese might react, that it might destabilize relations.
It's our space. It's our
completely
space.
agree.
I mean,
Look, it's not.
They would shoot ours down. I mean, is there any secret if we had a balloon floating around over communist China, they'd shoot ours down.
Absolutely. Look, it's our airspace. It's our sovereignty. It's international law. We should shoot them down, and we should not be self-deterred from taking action if we did indeed know that they had breached our airspace and were heading toward the United States, and particularly, like you said earlier, ended up above our missile fields, our bomber bases. Now we know the aircraft or the balloon is heading toward Missouri. You know, we have a B-2 stealth bomber base there as well. And who knows where it will travel once it crosses the Mississippi? Is it going to head to Washington, D.C.? So a lot of concerns of what's going to happen here over the next few days.
What's described by the Defense Department as, quote, maneuverable, which means to me that we could have picked up the phone and made a phone call and say, turn around, make a U-turn and go back. I mean, it's just like we're watching it. We're just sitting here, like, just staring in the sky and capturing it. Meanwhile, I mean, there's the other part is that the whole world is watching how we respond to this. Big, strong, America is letting a spy balloon circle over them and do nothing.
Yeah, it's very troubling why the administration took this business as usual approach. They've known about this for a few days. And look, I'm very concerned about what they're collecting and why and what it means. And I've said that I'd try and bring the balloon down so we can get the payload, the instrumentation, and learn those things. And barring that, we should certainly shoot it down the minute it breaches the eastern coast and is above the Atlantic Ocean. But the bigger issue, too, is the political, the brazenness of this move, that they would do this and that they would basically fly a balloon knowing that we would see it in front of us and we would not react. Look, when you're dealing with an autocracy like the Chinese Communist Party, you have to push back hard. You have to show firmness. You have to show resoluteness and not put up with this baloney.
Well, but I guess the thing that's so disturbing is that, you know, we don't have to be aggressive, but we have to protect ourselves. And when you hit that 12 nautical mile mark, you're over, you're done, you're at risk. And this thing had communication equipment, payload of cameras, sensors. We knew about it. We had the capability. We could have brought it down in an area where a debris field wouldn't have killed anybody. And instead, it's like we keep it a secret. We don't tell anybody. And then they say, well, there's no risk. It's not a scary thing. That's what they said yesterday. Don't worry about it. And today they say don't worry about it. But they don't even tell us where it is. If it's nothing to worry about, why don't they tell us where it is?
Yeah, look, you're going to get no disagreement from me. I'm concerned. Look, God forbid that the balloon fails and it does crash on its own. And what happens then? What do we do then? It raises troubling questions about why this casual business as usual approach was taken by the White House and why we didn't act earlier and act more aggressive earlier to either down the balloon or push it out of our airspace.
All right, you were Secretary of Defense in a prior administration. Did this, I don't know if it did, but were there ever spy balloons over the United States when you were working at the Pentagon or in any capacity that you know about?
I've had no recollection of this. I said it earlier today on another network. And since then, I've checked with some of my former colleagues. None of them have any recollection of this. I think Secretary Pompeo said on TV today, he never saw anything like this. So I don't recall ever seeing this happen.
Well, there were more people out looking for that balloon tonight than that comet that apparently that flashed over the country this week. Anyway, Secretary Mark Esper, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Greta. Take care.